Hi, I'm Wei Siang, leader of Group 6. Today, our group will present our comparative analysis of human concepts in Islamic, Western, and Eastern civilizations. I'll be presenting alongside my 13 group members whose names are displayed on the screen. Together, we will walk you through how our shared definitions of humanity shape the trajectory of our civilizations. Let's begin with a fundamental truth. Human self-knowledge is not a static biological fact. Historically, it has served as the baseline for social order, ethical standards, and governance. How a society defines what it means to be human determines how it builds its communities. Conceptually, we can divide this historical understanding into three main paradigms. First, theocentric worldviews, which center our meaning on a divine creator. Second, anthropocentric worldviews, which place human reasons and human autonomy at the center of existence. And third, cosmocentric worldviews, which prioritize organic balance and natural cosmic flow. Our main objective today is to compare these frameworks to retrieve holistic intellectual resources that can help heal the spiritual crisis of our modern world.
To build on one introduction, let's explore the three archetypal models. The Islamic model is fundamentally theocentric. It defines the human as a physical, spiritual, dual creation. It consists of a physical body, 𝗪𝗪, and an immortal spirit, the roots, possessing a pure primordial nature called fitrah. We carry the amanat, the divine trust, and act as khilafah or stewards on earth. Conversely, the Western paradigm has undergone a dramatic historical shift. It moved from a medieval Christian concept of imago Dei, humanity in the image of gods, to Cartesian's mind-body dualism, and finally to a modern secular anthropocentrism. Today, it reduced the humans to self-content, rational individuals seeking personal utilities. Lastly, Eastern paradigms are cosmocentric. Traditional like Confucianism, Taoism, Hinduism, and Buddhism place the human within an interconnected web, focusing on cosmic balance, karma, and inner transformation.
Why is this comparative study important today? This is because the modern world is facing a crisis of purpose and meaning. The dominant secular and materialist worldview often sees human beings only as biological creature and economist worker. By overlooking the spiritual and deeper aspect of life, many people experience stress, loneliness, and anxiety. At the same time, this material-focused mindset has contributed to environmental problems when nature is treated only as a resource for human use. Ecological balance is damaged. This is where our comparative research becomes valuable. By studying Islamic and Eastern worldview, we can gain important insight that help restore personal well-being, social harmony, and healthier relationship between human and nature.
This leads us to our problem statement, which consists of three interconnected layers. First, we face the systemic hegemony of secular materialist worldviews, which forces a Eurocentric reductionist model of humanity onto a diverse global population. Second, academic research suffers from descriptive chauvinism. This occurs when we force-feed profound indigenous non-Western concepts such as Islamic cult, the Hindu Atman, or the Confucian's 量子 into Western behavioral and materialist categories, stripping them of their original spiritual depth. Lastly, we see a complete loss of metaphysics in our modern institution. In education, politics, and ecology, our system operate on technical efficiency and procedural rules rather than ethical depth, failing to foster real social justice or ecological care.
I will address our first main point, ontological origin and metaphysical foundation. In Islamic cosmology, human existence is a purposeful, divine creation initiated through Prophet Adam as the father of man, firmly rejecting evolutionary reductionism. We are dual nature, a physical body, 𝗪𝗪, and an immortal spirit, 𝗪𝗪, bound by a pre-temporal convenient 𝗪𝗪𝗀, recognize God's absolute sovereignty. On the other hand, Western cosmology shifts from theology to Cartesian mind-body dualism, eventually adopting nature selection, which strips human origin of any teleological design. Meanwhile, Eastern metaphysics is the cosmocentric. Confucianism views the human as actualizing the moral order of heaven, or Tian. Hinduism equates the individual soul, Atman, with the ultimate reality, Brahman. Finally, Buddhism deconstructs the self, defining the human as anatta, a transient configuration of physical and mental aggregates.
Moving to our second main point, innate moral faculties, Islam offers a highly optimistic view of human nature through the concept of fitrah. According to Islam, every person is born pure and naturally inclined toward goodness, honesty, and belief in one God, while Islam rejects the idea of original sin. It recognizes that a negative environment can corrupt this natural state. Therefore, divine revelation, or wahi, serves to guide and restore human morality. In contrast, Western philosophy presents different perspectives. Thomas Hobbes took a pessimistic view of human nature, believing that humans are naturally selfish, while John Locke argued that the mind is born as a tabula rasa, or a blank slate. Immanuel Kant, however, maintained that morality comes from human reason. Similarly, Chinese philosophy is divided. Mencius believe humans are inherently good and possess 良知, or innate moral knowledge, whereas Xunzi argued that humans' desire must be disciplined through visual propriety, known as Li.
Our third main point focuses on psycho-spiritual architecture of the human being. Islamic psychology, developed by Al-Ghazali, models the soul as an integrated spiritual entity with four overlapping dimensions: the nafs or self, the cup or spiritual heart, the ark or intellect, and the pure spirit. Here, reason and revelation are symbiotic. As human, reason requires divine guidance to achieve ultimate truth and certitude. In stark contrast, Western psychology has completely secularized the mind. It reduces consciousness to physical brain states and views reason as a mechanical tool used to dominate the material world. Eastern psychology offers distinct structural models. Hinduism maps the human as a five shifts wrapped around the Atman. Buddhism deconstructs permanent reason into changing stream of aggregates, while Confucianism unifies the mind and heart into Xin, where rational thought is inseparable from empathy.
I will address our fourth point, focusing on social responsibility and destiny. In the Islamic social model, individual freedom, ikhtiyar, is balanced with community accountability, the ummah. Governance is structured by the Sharia to protect fundamental human values like life, intellect, family, and property. Ibn Khaldun observed that civilizational strength relies on moral group solidarity, or asabiyyah. Modern Western individualism, by contrast, conceptualizes society as cold social contract among autonomous, self-interested individuals. It prioritizes contractual rights over collective obligations, measuring progress through GDP and technological metrics. Meanwhile, Eastern collectivism is relational. Confucianism organizes social through the five relationships of Wulun, striving to cultivate the Junzi, or noble sage. Taoists advocate Wu Wei, effortless action and returning to natural simplicity. While Hindu and Buddhist traditions view earthly society as temporary, with the ultimate destiny being liberation from suffering.
To synthesize these main points, let's evaluate them using a comparative evaluation matrix. In metaphysics, the contrast is clear. The Islam is built on theocentric dualism, the Western secular worldview relies on anthropocentric evolution, and Eastern traditions follow cosmocentric alignments. In terms of innate morality, Islam presents the uncorrupted fitrah, the West is divided between Hobbesian depravity and Locke's blank state, while Eastern thought contrasts mention goodness with Xunzi's focus on raw desires. For locus of consciousness, the Islamic paradigm centers on the spiritual heart, the cup, while Western psychology limits it to brain states. And Eastern schools emphasize the Atman, or aggregates. Finally, regarding nature, Islam champions Khilafah, or stewardship, while Western thought pursues material dominion, and Eastern tradition seeks complete natural harmony. The synthesis highlights how civilizational behaviors stem from their underlying philosophies.
Let's dive deeper into our analysis and discussion, starting with the ecological dimension. The post-Renaissance Western separation of mind and matter reduced the physical cosmos to mechanical resources. This dominant attitude is the primary driver of our current global environmental crisis. In contrast, Islam presents a powerful theocentric model of stewardship, khilafah. Nature is not dead matter, it consists of sacred signs, ayat, belonging to Allah. As trustees, our interaction with the earth must be governed by justice and spiritual accountability. Eastern traditions align closely with this through cosmocentric harmony. In Taoism and Confucianism, humans are fully embedded in the nature balance of yin and yang. To destroy nature is to directly destroy ourselves. Solving ecological collapse requires moving past Western dominion to embrace the stewardship of Islam or the cosmic harmony of the East.
Our analysis also reveals a profound convergence between the Islamic concept of fitrah and the Confucian concept of liangzhi, or innate moral knowledge. Both traditions share immense moral optimism. They firmly reject original depravity, accepting the human beings are naturally designed to recognize truth, love goodness, and feel deep psychological discomfort when doing wrong. However, their activation paths are different. In Islam, fitrah is explicitly theocentric. It requires divine revelation where to protect and nourish our purity. In Confucianism, liangzhi operates in a humanistic cosmic framework. It relies on our self-cultivation, studying and classics, and practicing social rituals lead to polish our moral mirror. This convergence proves that across civilization, humanity shares a universal moral blueprint that we can use to rebuild ethical system today.
I will discuss the second part of our analysis with the epidemic colonization and the mental health crisis. Today, education has become like a skill factory. School focus on teaching technical skills of job and the economy, but they often ignore personal growth, values, and well-being. Because of this, many people lost a sense of purpose and meaning in life. They become more likely to experience stress, anxiety, and loneliness. This has contributed to today's mental health crisis. That is why recovering spiritual value is important. Technical skills are necessary, but without purpose and inner values, people may become successful but still feel empty.
Building on Carleen's point, how do we help the psychology distress? The answer lies into the recurring non-Western model of the South. Islamic psychology often and the interactive path is define the true happiness as a sa'adah, a state of the deep inner harmony where the mind, body, and heart, the cause, and the perfectly align with their original natural stage. Mental health is not just about the correcting behavior, it's about aligning with our life purpose. Similarly, the Eastern competitive practice like the Buddhist mindfulness teach us to quiet our suffering by letting go to the ego-driven one and accepting change. By integrative this reach the psycho-spiritual framework into the modern mental health care and education, we can move past the modern unlimited view and offer humanity the holistic model of the real well-being.
To conclude our presentation, let us look at the ultimate trajectory of this worldview. How civilization define human nature, become the foundation of its law, education, and ultimate density, while Western secular anthropocentrism have brought us a remarkable scientific and technological progress, it has failed to nourish the human soul, leading to severe mental, ecological, and social crises. The path forward is clear. We must move past secular materialist hegemony by reclaiming the spiritual wisdom of the Islamic theocentric paradise such as Sa'adah and Khilafah, alongside the Eastern cosmocentric emphasis on Wu Wei and communal harmony. We can reconstruct a balanced global future, reclaiming a spiritual
concept of humanity is key to restoring our shared world.
To wrap up our presentation, here is our comprehensive list of academic references, featuring primary philosophical texts and contemporary journals. We hope this comparative analysis serves as a valuable resources for cross-cultural dialogue. Thank you very much for your time and attention today. Thank you.